Evening all. Call me Dave, yeah, how's it going? Let me get this thing on. Hey. I was talking to my friend's missus about young people getting it on. Many people one night stands and stuff, and I said, "You're not worried, oh?" She said, "Nah, Steve is too fat and lazy to be unfaithful to me. He never get off the fucking sofa." I said, "See, there is good in everyone if you look for it." You know what I mean? Her mother is in the kitchen. She's making some dinner for her family. Her little daughter walks in and she goes, "Mummy, where do babies come from?" You know, thinking, "You're vag, you know." And mummy's thinking on her toes, thinking, what shall I say to this little bugger? Anyway, she thinks up a story in her head. She says a few seconds. She's like, "Well, dear, you know, when a mummy and a daddy, they love each other, and they're getting married, you know, and then one night, in bed together, and they, you know, they go into the bedroom, have a kiss and a hug, you know, and they have sex, and where the daddy puts his, you know, his little wee wee in mummy's foo foo, and the daughter looks puzzled, and the mother continues, and just says, "Daddy puts his penis in mummy's vagina. They teach all about it at school, you know, and that's how you get a baby." And the little girl seems to comprehend what's going on, and she's sort of thinking, "Oh, yeah, you know." She said, and then she started asking some questions. She said, "The other night, when I came into the bedroom, Daddy's woolly wasn't in your foo-foo. It was in your mouth." She said, "Yes, it was, wasn't it?" And she said, "Well, what do you get when you do that?" And she said, "Lots of jewellery and presents, my dear. Lots of jewellery and presents." That was a bit long-winded. Longer than his cock. You know what I mean? Christ. A little boy and a little girl are fighting about the differences between the sexes. Which one is better? Finally, the little boy drops his pants and he says, "Here's something. I've got something." Obviously, he's got his slong. One of these guys. He says, "Here's something I've got you'll never have." And the little girl's upset. She sees his cock and she goes running home to her mum. She's running back, crying. And speaks to her mum. And a little while later, she comes running back out to the geezer with a big smile on her face. And she says, "You know that little thing you got there?" She said, drops her pants. She goes, "With one of these, I can have as many of them as I want." That's a trick you learn when you're older, fellas. I tell you. Picture the scene as a man and a woman. They've been married for 30 years. And in those 30 years, every time they get in their underway, they always left the lights off. You know, go in there, jump in the bed, hide under the covers, switch the bloody light off. He was embarrassed and scared that he couldn't please her, you know. A small wiener or something, you know. And so, yeah, for 30 years. And so what he did, he sneaked in one of them dildos which strap on. And that's how he's been pleasing her for all these years, for 30 years. She didn't have a fucking clue. And one day, she decided to reach over. She must have felt her too hard one day or something, a bit of plastic. She reached over, flipped the light switch, and she saw he was using the dildo. She said, "I knew it, you arsehole." She said, "Explain the dildo." And he said, "You fucking explain the kids, love." Shouldn't have any. You know what I mean? My mate's daughter went home happy, and she told her mum that she earned 20 quid by climbing up a tree. Her mum responded, "How did you do that?" She said, "The boys paid me 20 quid to climb up a tree." And she said, "They just wanted to see your knickers." She said, "I'm too fucking shrewd for that game. I didn't wear any." Yeah, easy 20 quid, isn't it? God, I wish I'd brought a straw with me. How can I have a wine? Oh. A lady goes to the doctor and she complains to the doctor her husband is losing interest in sex. And the doctor says, "I've got this pill, but it's still in the experimental stage." He tells her to slip it in his mashed potato at dinner time. She makes him dinner, put it on the plate, and she just puts it under the mash. just like that. And about a week later, she's back at the doctor, where she says, "Doc, the pill worked great. I put it in the potatoes, just like you told me to. You just flipped under the mash, you know." But do you know what? That was less than 5 minutes later. He jumped up out of the chair. He took all of the dishes off the table, threw them on the fucking floor, grabbed me, ripped me knickers off, and rogered me for about an hour. Right there, at the fucking table. And the doctor says, "Well, I'm sorry, I didn't realise the pill was that powerful, you know." And she said, and he said, "Well, you know, if there's any damages, I'll gladly pay. You know, I recommended it." She says, "That's okay. We're never going back to that fucking restaurant again." You know what I mean? Fucking Roger in the restaurant. I wonder if he left him a tip. He's not a fucking leper. Why do I wear this fucking mask? I look like Slough out the Goonies under here, you know. Hey, you guys. Little Sally come home from school with a big smile on her face, like this one, and told her mum, "Frankie Brown showed me his little weenie today in the playground." Before her mum could start shouting and screaming, she said, "That reminded me of a peanut." And her mum went, "Oh, it was really tiny, was it?" She went, "No, it tasted really salty." You know, these school kids are like. I need another sip of my old healthy red juice. Chateau Neuf de Pap, or if you get it from Aldi, Chateau Neuf de Crap. But surprisingly, it tastes all right. There's an overweight geezer watching the TV, and a commercial comes on, or an advert for anyone who's, you know, a bit common like me. An advert comes on for guaranteed weight loss, 10 pounds in a week. He thought, New Year's resolution, I'm going to fucking do it. He signs up for it, and the next morning, this incredibly beautiful woman has stood on the front doorstep, you know, lovely pair of shaven. And she stood there in nothing but a pair of running shoes and a sign round her neck that says, "If you can catch me, you can fucking have me." You know what I mean? And as soon as he sees her, she runs off. He's fucking running down the street and he can't catch up to her. He does this for a whole week, and at the end of the week, he nearly catches her. And he's like, "Fuck me, I'm going to sign up for the next one. I'll have her next week." And that gave him inspiration. And he thinks to himself, "Right, I'll go for another one." He lost 10 pounds all the way. So he tries the next one, and that's 15 pounds a week. This week, you'll be out running, and you'll lose 15 pounds in a week. The next morning, an even more beautiful woman stood at the door. You know, lovely, you know, gorgeous woman. Same thing happened to the first woman. Sign on here. "If you can catch me, you can have me." He runs after her. For a whole week. He almost catches her at the end, and he's like, "Fucking hell, I'm nearly there." And he weighs 15 pounds less. It's like, bargain. "I lost a stone next week if I keep this up." Excited about his success, he said, "I'm going to do the master program." And he signs up, and then you have to sign a waiver. And it says this one is very intense, this one. And he reads it through, and he still signs the bloody thing. The next morning, he goes to the door, he opens the door, and there's a fucking 18-stone bodybuilder out there with nothing on but a pair of running shoes and a fucking 12-inch cock. Harder than Mike Tyson's left hook. And there's a sign round his neck that says, "If I can catch you, you're mine." The bloke was supposed to lose 25 pounds that fucking week. He lost 50. I don't know how to make this shit up. Big bloke with a chasing you. Christ, you need some lubricant for that, wouldn't you? Oh. Lubricant and polyfiller. Yeah, this man was having premature ejaculation problems. That's when you come too quickly, fellas. He went to the doctor, and he said, "When you feel like you're ready to come, you've got to shock yourself, startle yourself." And the bloke was like, "Yeah, and that'll put me off, and I won't shoot me load." That same day, the geezer went down to the sports shop, and he bought himself one of these starter pistols for the race. He went home to his wife, and that night they had a couple of glasses of vino, you know, put some romantic music on. And they found themselves in bed having sex. They were in the 69 position. And the man thought, oh my God, that's happening. That's happening. I'm going to shoot me fucking load in a minute. He grabs a starter pistol out of the drawer, fires the fucking thing. The next day he goes to the doctor and the doctor said, how did it go? How did you shock yourself? He said, it didn't go very well, Doc. When I fired the fucking starter pistol, the missus shat on me face, bit 3 inches off me cock, and the fucking postman come out of the wardrobe with his hands up like this. But he didn't come. So it worked. You know what I mean? Come again. Picture the scene with the missus. Darling, is it in? Yeah. Does it hurt? Yes, it does. Oh, let me put it in slowly. Oh, it still fucking hurts. Okay, let's try another fucking pair of shoes. Dirty minds, isn't there? Dirty minds. This geezer's wife comes home late one night. She quietly opens the door to the bedroom and she sees the blanket and she sees 4 legs instead of 2. And she, the dirty bastard, she gets the baseball bat out and she gets it and she goes, oh, whack, whack, fucking hitting their legs as hard as she can, going, you cheating bastards. Once she's done, she walks down to the kitchen to get herself a stiff drink. And she opens the door. Her fucking husband sat there with a glass of wine and a book. And he goes, hi, darling, your mum and dad come to stay. I've let them stay in our bed. You don't mind, do you? Fucking conversation that'd be in the morning, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like me. I'm looking in the fucking mirror. The old slough face. One eye down here, one up there. And there was this young girl, right? And she had a look at the old beaver. And she realised that it had grown some hair on it. She got a little bit worried about this. Like the old hairy beaver, she got a bit worried about this. She asked her mum, and her mum's calmly said, well, that bit of hair there, that's called your monkey. Be proud that your monkey has grown hair. And that put her at ease. She smiled at dinner. She said to her sister, my monkey has grown hair over her now. And she said, that's nothing. My monkey's fucking eating bananas. Yeah. It's your fucking filth. I know what you mean. What do you reckon? What a cock. This geezer, he decides to do something nice for his girlfriend before they leave on holiday. So he thought to himself, I'll do something at the test of time that only she'll see. So he got her name tattooed on his cock. Like Wendy. Yep. Tattooed on the cock. He come back home and he shows it to her. And she looks at it and she says, that's great. But who is WY? And he says, you got to play with it for a minute. You know, give it a bit of pleasure. And it got bigger and bigger. And he went, oh, she went, oh, Wendy. I see, when it gets it, you can read it. Yeah, brilliant. And so they're like, oh, well, yeah, that's a nice gesture. Got the holiday coming up soon. They get on the plane. Jamaica. Hot sunshine. Lovely. Spliff everywhere. Rum. You name it. And they're walking along the beach together, arm in arm. And they accidentally go into a nudist beach. And they notice this black guy with WY on his penis. They turn around and go, have you got a missus called Wendy? And the Jamaican guy laughs. He says, nah, man. Man says, welcome to Jamaica. Have a nice day. I said, huge fucking... I said, look the size of this fucker. Right. Serious. A man gets on a bus and he ends up sitting next to a very attractive nun. They call him a nun because they don't fucking get none. Anyway, he looks at her and she's beautiful. He says, can I have sex with you? She goes, fuck off, I'm a nun. And a few stops later, he gets off the bus. She gets off the bus, rather. The man goes to the bus driver and he says, do you know the nun? He said, I want to find a way to get with her. She's a bit of all right. And the bus driver says, well, every night at 8 o'clock, she goes to that cemetery over there to pray. If you dress up as God, a decent costume, I'm sure you could convince her to have sex with you. And the man said, Do you know that's not a bad idea? I'm going to go to that cemetery, dress up as God. I'm going to pork the brains out of this nun, and I'm going to convert her back to normal life. So he dresses up in his best God costume, 8 o'clock on the fucking dot, and he sees the nun. He runs around the back of the grave, and he appears before her. And she goes, "Oh, God, take me with you." And the man says to the nun that first she must have sex with him to prove her loyalty. And the nun says, yes, you're God, I'll do anything for you. And she says, "But I'd prefer it up the old council gritter, anal." And so God respects that, and before you know it, they have a nasty, grunty, loud sex up the old council gritter. And when that's over, the man pulls off his God disguise. He goes, "Ha ha, I got you. I'm the man for the bus." And the nun pulls off her costume and she goes, "I'm the fucking bus driver." Yeah. Lovely little story. Christ, I can't be asked to tell any more of them. Yeah. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.